Jones,
Producer.
voice actor,
Director.
Carl Jones, producer. Black Dynamite, Carl Jones, producer, the last OG. With Tracy Morgan. Fam, we got the man in the building. We about to get him on right now. Ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado, show your love for the man, the myth, the legend.
That's right. That's right.
Carl Jones.
Eric. Hello. What's good? Up it up. How you doing?
Doing.
Man, thank you for coming on to the show, man.
Oh man, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Anytime, man. So, yeah, man.
See, get into it. Digging the sweater, man. That's looking real festive. I like that. See me, I like my colors, bro. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah, a little polo.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's what's up. Yo, Dashawn said Carl Jones is the man. Okay. Carl replied to my tweet.
I will.
Oh, Britta, they coming in all
No,
calling for her.
Right. They don't say it, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
how you doing? Friday? Nah, just in my meeting.
With his beverage, they was just like, oh, Britta. No, Carl, I've been trying to DM you, Carl. Like, man, I'm like, okay. But again, thanks for being on the show. We'll have some fun today. Let's just jump right into it, bro. Like, who is Carl Jones, man? That's a super wide open question. I'm gonna phrase it like that on purpose. Who is?
I mean, people know, but in case they don't know, who is the man, the myth, the legend, Carl Jones?
man, I'm just a nigga that was selling mixtapes in a barbershop. And fucked around and started, making cartoons for a living, I guess. I got my start, as most people probably know, with the Boondocks, and from there, I went on to do Black Dynamite. Did a lot of stuff with Adult Swim because at that time they became almost like family to us, right? So I did another project called Freaknik the Musical with T-Pain and Nick Weidenfeld, who was our executive at the time at Adult Swim.
Dope.
And did some other stuff with Adult Swim, like the Jellies with Tyler the Creator, Laser Wolf with Emery Bonsu and Vince Staples, and what else? Did some stuff with Comedy Central, like Legends of Chamberlain Heights, with Josiah. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Josiah, but I moved around, man. Did some stuff with Fox and damn, what else? Yeah, man. I mean, most recently, I guess I did a show at HBO Max called Young Love, which is based on the Oscar-winning short film Hair Love by Matthew Cherry. A few other things here and there, but those are the most notable.
Respect. Hey,
how can I not mention this? And I also launched a really dope NFT project called Bubble Goose Ballers around the end of last year. And it's if you haven't heard of it, please check it out. Bubble Goose Ballers. We got a really dope community, with some really hardcore community members and fans, and it's a dope project, man. We're in the process of making toys and TV shows, clothing, and the whole nine. So
dope, man. Listen, man, talk about that era in Adult Swim where it feels as if they had the monopoly on adult animation. To you coming into the game, how was that era of animation?
I mean, it was crazy, man, because Adult Swim was very different from a lot of networks, right? Because Mike Lazo was the head of Adult Swim at the time, and he was just a visionary, man. Like, he was somebody that truly saw, because he started doing like Space Goes Coast to Coast, and right, and repurposing a lot of that old Hanna-Barbera stuff, right? And it was almost like they were doing like, and I mean this in a respectful way, but it was almost like they were doing like a parody of a cartoon network, right?
Right.
And it just really resonated with people, man, because they never took themselves too serious, you know? So there were a place that you could pitch a show like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, where there's a meat wad in a French fry box in a house next to a nigga named Carl that wears white beaters, right? I'm sorry, tank tops.
Right.
But you know, that was a place where, you know, creators could go and really spread their wings and just do a bunch of crazy shit, and they supported it, you know. And because I don't know that you could have sold that show anywhere else, or Squidbillies, or, you know, a lot of stuff that they did. And the Boondocks actually got turned down at Fox first. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh, whoa.
You know? So,
wow.
You know,
Okay.
it was this place where they let us play and do whatever we wanted to do, and there wasn't many limitations. Every now and then we get a few notes, but it was unlike any other network. And I do think that's why they were so successful. I mean, even look at Family Guy. Like, Family Guy started out at Fox, right? Then Fox gave it to Adult Swim. Adult Swim got it hot, and then Fox was like, "Yeah, give me that back."
Came back.
Let me get that back.
We need some of that. You know, we need some of that.
Yeah. So, you know, it just became that place, man. And I mean, I think they've grown a lot since then. I mean, I think in some good ways, in some ways that, I don't know, maybe not be so good, just in the sense of, you know, they're a bigger company now, and they gotta, you know what I mean? They got boxes they gotta check, and, you know,
Right.
it's a cool,
Yeah.
it's a big corporate
Shareholders, you know.
yeah, all of that stuff, man. But they're still dope. It's still family to me, you know what I mean? And yeah.
Yo, and everybody watching, if you got questions for Carl, go ahead and hit the little question icon at the bottom. We'll try to get your questions answered. Carl, you were talking about like get certain notes. So I'm imagining you guys are writing different shows, and maybe you submit. I don't know if you submit the final product, or you submit a script to like the network, and they give you notes on it. I know that's pretty common in the industry. Is there anything that that you wanted to really get out there that would have been like, you just thought it was hilarious, but the network was like, oh no,
If you can't do it,
can't do it.
I mean,
We got sponsors.
What would the Christmas thing?
yeah, I mean, there was only, there's only like two things that come to mind. Because like I said, they gave us a lot of room, right?
Yeah.
So there's only like two things that come to mind, but we still ended up doing it. We just got in trouble for it. So it's like, they warned us, you know, like the Tyler Perry episode for the Boondocks.
Oh, man. Classic.
Please touch on that, bro. Please touch on that.
Well, no, they knew that was a dangerous space to be in. You know what I'm saying? Like, they told us in the beginning, like, you can't name him Tyler Perry. He cannot look like Tyler Perry. You can't touch Tyler Perry. Pause. You can't touch.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, so, you know, we found a very creative way to do it, or at least we thought. You know, at first we were like, okay, well, let's just use his real name. And then Adult Swim, I think like we got it past them. They were like, all right, this is better. Thank you. You're not calling him Tyler Perry. I can't remember what his real name is, but they were like, this is good. And then like 2 or 3 weeks later, they found out that we got his real name. And they were like, and that's when they had a real sit down with us, like, look, no bullshit. Like, don't fuck around. Like, we're not playing this game. Like, you know, you can't do it. So we called him Winston Jerome. We made him look very different, but people still knew what we was doing. And Affion Crockett came in and he did the voice, and man, we just had so much fun with it. And as soon as it aired, I think it was like the very next day, Tyler Perry called Adult Swim personally.
Wow.
Like, you guys better not ever hear that again. And they
What?
and they did, man. But it was that time, and then I think the other one was when we wanted to kidnap Oprah, when Ed and Rummy was going to kidnap Oprah. And this wasn't even the network. It actually didn't make it to the network because someone higher than Sony got wind that we were doing it, And they were like, because at first we thought it was like a legal note, right? So we had a call with the legal department because they have a department that handles, all of the legal notes, all of the standards and practices. So we had a call with them, and we were like, we don't understand how is this like breaking a law, or like we don't get it. And they said, this is not a law. You just can't do it. And that was their only explanation. There's like, Sony as a company would not let you do it.
Right.
So they were like, so we not only could we not kidnap Oprah, we couldn't see Oprah. We couldn't even see her. We couldn't show her face. Even if they were unsuccessful in kidnapping her, we couldn't even show her face. So that was the other thing. And we did, if you remember the episode, they kidnapped Maya Angelou instead. But that was the only two things that I can recall, really. There was like, I think when we did on Black Dynamite, there was like, but we ended up still doing it. But Mike Lazo, he really didn't like the, it was, I don't know if y'all remember, it was the Gay Bash episode, but it was like, and the thing about it is, I'll just say this, like, especially at that time, we weren't, a lot of the stuff that we were tackling issues where we thought, at least from my perspective, we were offering many different angles and entry points into that conversation, right? So it was never like, this is what we believe or what we think. You know what I'm saying? It was, you always had, just like if you think about, even with Gangstalicious, right? Like Riley had a point of view, Huey had a point of view, Ruckus had a point of view, and Granda had a point of view. And they were all very different, about how they felt about like, Riley wearing a Gangstalicious man bag. But we never made like an overarching statement that we feel in some way that this is, you know what I mean? So that, and that is kind of the stance we took, I think, with a lot of things. It's just like there's a voice for the show, but we don't really try to drive home a very specific statement when it comes to something political or something or touchy subjects like that. You know what I mean?
I feel you, man. Listen, man, of course, Boondocks being one of the most dangerous, one of the most thoughtful, funniest shows of all time, animation or live action period, right? The man behind it was Aaron Magruder. How was it like working with that man, that mind on the show?
I mean, Aaron is, he's a genius, man. Like I think he deals with politics in a way that is like no other. You know what I mean? His point of view, his voice, his comedy. That's where I cut my teeth. That's who I learned from. You know what I'm saying? And who I studied. So he's amazing creative. I think in a lot of ways he's not. I wouldn't think of him as like a very collaborative creative. Like he's the type of person. When he was doing the comic strip, I think it was such an isolated job.
Yeah, with all him,
and there wasn't many people involved, and there wasn't a lot of voices, a lot of elements. When you take that into animation, it's extremely compartmentalized, right? So you have you have hundreds of artists, and, it breaks down into different from character designs, the background designs to the inks and paints and colors and storyboards and. You know what I mean? And then you get into animation, there's just a lot of different elements and layers that all have to come together and you be happy with it, right? Or has to meet your at least your ideal vision. And that was the biggest problem I think he had. He just couldn't he was he had so much attention to detail and he had such a high bar, high standard of quality. Like he had me there was times where like I would get a background design, right? And it would be a tree. It'd be like Huey's tree, for example. I would show him like, yo, what do you think about this tree? And he would look at the leaves in the tree and he could tell if they used like a cloning tool in Photoshop and repeated a leaf pattern. So he'll be like, these leaves look the same. I don't want he said, tell people to stop using the cloning tool. So he's like, and that's just like one example, but it was a lot. It was like that across the board. But I will say this, and it was rough because you know what I'm saying, like and our characters also change clothes almost every scene. if it was unless it was in the same day. So you don't see that in animation. You usually see a character design, they have one set of clothes all throughout the entire lifeline of his cartoons.
Yeah.
That's not what we did. You know, it had to ring true to the culture, and it had to be authentic, and we had to because of what it was, it had to speak to the culture the real way. So we wanted our characters to have, you know, different clothes, and you know what I'm saying, and be like real people. And so that came with like clothing designs. You know, like you know, there's a certain fashion that Huey has that's different from a certain fashion that Riley has versus Granddad. And so it was a lot of thinking that went into this, but there was a genius behind it. And because, I mean, look, the networks, I mean, Sony complained a lot, and we were over budget and we were over schedule every season. I think we was maybe, I don't know, $1.7 million over budget every season, something like that.
Okay.
But the problem was really, the problem wasn't Aaron was being too demanding. The problem was the show was under budgeted, because the kind of show it was, it needed a lot of characters. It needed a lot of backgrounds. It needed a lot of what we needed in order to tell the kind of stories we were telling, you know, but it's kind of hard to say that after the fact, you know what I mean? And so, you know, so anyways, it was a great experience. There was a lot of ups and downs.
Right.
So he and I don't talk now, which I think is unfortunate, but you know, it was dope though.
All right. Real quick, RA. Britt Stockton King said, to kill Carl, I know you ain't drinking my favorite soda.
That's hilarious. This nigga is quoting a bully that we used to know in high school.
Oh, word.
He used to run up on people like, yo, I know you ain't drinking my favorite soda. Let me just smile. I think he was like Debo. This nigga was like in the 10th grade, but he had like a full beard and mustache.
Damn.
You roll up on you and be like, yo, I know you ain't wearing my favorite shoes.
One of those. Okay.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
That's why.
How are you?
We got somebody in the comments say, how good of a rapper was Carl Jones? Shout out to Rickonia.
Hilarious. He was one of the writers. He's one of the writers of Black Dynamite. Are you trying to give me the freestyle, niggas? Like,
Carl Jones got bars.
Nah, man. I used to mess around a little bit, but I'm not.
Word.
I got no.
All right, but listen, man. A lot of people don't know, but I found out. I did my Googles, right? You executive produce In the Flow with Affion Crockett on Fox. Oh, wait a minute. Little flag right here. Hold on for a second.
All right, go ahead. What'd you say?
You got your bet. All right, so a lot of people may not know that you helped out with In the Flow with Affion Crockett on the Fox show. Right.
Yeah.
I love the show. What was some of your favorite moments working on that show?
I mean, just working with Affion. Like, I mean, you know, Affion and I, we went to high school together.
Word.
Wow. So, you know, yeah. So he and I, we go way back to Fayetteville, or we call Fayetteville. And so having a chance to work with him, number one, since we grew up together, it was surreal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting because before we took the show to Fox, he had the internet on fire. Like, he was just ahead of his time, man. Like, I remember, you know, like his impressions are crazy. Like, he
just a legend. What's it? Yeah,
insane, bro. And so he was doing all of these really dope, you know, skits on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And at some point, I don't remember how the conversation came about, but I remember I might even said to him, like, yo, we need to try to, because, you know, at that time, you know, I had, you know, produced a couple of things. I've done, you know, I've sold a couple of projects and stuff. So I was thinking, like, there's got to be a way like we could set this up at a network, you know. Mm-hmm. So we actually cut together like a sizzle reel. We just took all of his dope pieces from all the dopest pieces from YouTube, and we cut it together in this like sizzle reel, right? It was like a 2-minute sizzle reel, and we set up a meeting with Fox, and we played it, and they were like, we love it. They were like, and Affion, you know, he did his spiel, talked to him about how his vision for the show, and we got the deal. But what happened was, after they said they wanted to do it, I got a call from my agent, and he was like, hey, what do you think about partnering with Jamie Foxx? And and time, I was trying to wrap my head around it because because first of all, Jamie's a beast. Like he's like one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life, right?
Absolutely.
But I was trying to figure out how those two different brands of comedy work together. You know what I'm saying? Because Affion does a very specific thing and Jamie does a thing, and so that was the thing I struggled with. But at the same time, I'm like, it's Jamie Foxx. So we, I talked to Affion, we decided to make it happen. And so we came together, Jamie had his writers and, we had some writers and we brought those two camps together. And I feel like the problem with the show, and well, I know it's not what you asked, but I think the reason why the show didn't last long, or why it got taken off the air after like 6 episodes, I really believe that it was just two different voices that were fighting each other. You know what I'm saying? So almost literally fighting each other, but that's a whole other story. But it was really, it was really, Affion had, I think if we would have, I truly believe if we would have did the show that Affion had in mind, you know what I'm saying? I think it would still be on the air to this day. I truly
know, man.
Yeah, we had a bunch of dope sketches, man, that just didn't make it in. You know what I mean? But whatever, and it's also Fox too. So keep in mind, like, because we were also trying to do some stuff that was probably a little more thought provoking and on the level of what Chappelle was doing, right?
Okay.
But it was Fox, so like a lot of stuff had to get, had to get kind of, reeled in and watered down, and it got to a point where it was like, yeah, this is probably not gonna work,
Yes. They try to make it into like they try to make you guys be like Saturday Night Live or something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's the way I don't really go there for real.
Yeah. It was just like I don't know. There was. I just remember there was sketches that we wanted to do that was just like there was even. I remember we did one. They actually still let us shoot it. Well, no, actually they did let us shoot. We snuck and shot it. They told us how. But we did this thing called Skinny Pig, right? Where it was the evolution of the skinny jeans. It was like it got to the point where niggas just spray painted their legs, right? And so we did a whole music. So we did a whole music video for Skinny Pig, but they told us they didn't approve it. They told us not to do it. And so we went downtown and shot it anyway.
Yeah.
But what happened was we played it in front of a live audience, right? And the crowd went crazy. And so one of the executives, he came over to me. He was like, you were right. He admitted he was right.
See?
Good call.
Like that, man. Mm-hmm.
Yo, real quick, and then I'm gonna take a question from the audience. Also, you guys, put your questions in the little question box. So talk real quick about like you were saying on Afion's show, like Jamie Foxx had his writers, Affion had his writers. Like, what is that like what does that writer's room look like? You know what I'm saying? Especially when you got like maybe clicks and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, how does that work?
I give you an idea, right? I remember one day I was in the writer's room and they had, I think it was Chris Spencer, it was somebody was burning the script at the time. It was somebody wrote that.
Damn.
It would be a first. And you know what I'm saying? I'll just say this, man. Like, well, first of all, like Jamie's writers are like funny as hell. Like, Chris Spencer is funny. Johnny Mac is hilarious. Like, these dudes are like really, really funny. It was just, I think it was more of a tone thing, right? Because it was like, so the room was pretty cool. Like everybody, we got along, and you know what I'm saying? And everybody's pitching jokes and, we're putting scripts together. But at the same time, it's like, it's just two different tones.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they come from a world where like, I don't know if you ever listen to radio show, but like they be going in, like, really hard on people, right? Mm-hmm. So like some of the stuff, some of the stuff would be kind of, you know what I mean? I'm always saying, because I'm cool with even like mean-spirited jokes or whatever, but I just think like totally it was just different from like APR stuff. I felt like had a larger reach. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, I don't know, like even if we went into some areas that would like, that might feel a little dark or maybe some, taboo subject matter, he had a way of doing it so that it's hard to explain. I don't even know how he does it, but he had a way of doing it so that it didn't feel like, you know. And I think a lot of it just comes from his charisma and his personality that he brought to the table. But there was a lot of sketches that Jamie like wanted to do that Affion didn't want to do it, and vice versa. And so at one point it was really hard to like navigate all of this, because I'm Jamie's like, Affion is Affion show. We can also like face, yeah. Because I remember, I'll tell you this one story. Like we spent I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 weeks coming up with sketches, right? So we had a whole board filled with these index cards. It was maybe like 70 sketch ideas that we were really, really excited about. And everyone, Jamie came in and he said, "Hey man, this is his first time coming in," because I think he was shooting a movie or something. He's like, "Hey man, what's going on? What's going on? Oh man, it's good. Yeah, we here, man. We doing it. Mind you, it's like 8 o'clock at night. It's like 8 or 9 o'clock at night." And he's looking at the board. He's like, "Well, these are sketches going on? Okay, cool." He starts taking them all down. And he took the stack and tossed it in the trash. He's like, "Yeah, man, let's come up with some good stuff. Let's come up with some."
Whoa.
Wow. Oh, so no. When that happened, how long has y'all been working on? How long has y'all been working on him at that point?
It was like 3 weeks. It was like maybe like 3 weeks. Because we were just coming up with the ideas. And it was like quick. And mind you, it's like 9 o'clock at night. He's like, "All right, man, come on, let's work on some real funny stuff." And it's just like, yo,
what is that like, bro? Because at the same time, like you said, it's Avion's show, but Jamie is like, I guess he's the one that's kind of getting the corporate back,
the OG,
kind of like the name or whatever. So, like, what is that like? Because like you said, to your point, Jamie is immensely talented, well respected, but like at that moment, you got to be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I mean, it was hard, man. It was hard. Like, I'm just being honest, like it was, because you couldn't. I mean, look, he's also really smart, so it's not like I don't think it like he understood. I think he understood what we were trying to do. I just think it was just a taste thing, man. It was just a taste. And so it's kind of hard for you to come to somebody and say that the taste, what I mean? Well, it's not even that it's wrong or it's bad. It's just different, and then I guess then the question becomes, well, whose show is it? And this is the problem, because, we had too many chefs. It's like, okay, it is Affion's show, but it's Jamie's show. And then I'm in this weird position because I'm running the writer's room, but I gotta make sure that both of these camps, come together creatively and synthesize together. And that was just like almost impossible. There was times where, like, Jamie would take his guys off, in his office, and Affion and I would be working with the rest of the writers in another room, and we would be working on sketches separately. And then we would try to come together. And then when you start putting those sketches, because that's actually what happened eventually. So when you start putting those sketches together in the same show, it felt like 2 different shows. You know what I'm saying? And that was the problem. So we were never really in a position, Affion and I, we were never really in a position where we could actually, tell him no. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we ain't got that kind of, this is Jamie Foxx. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and again, like I said, he's one of the funniest people that I've ever met in my life. Like, the nigga, I mean,
right.
Some people just have that natural gift. He definitely has it. I just think, just different vibe, you know what I mean, than what Affion was on.
Where somebody asked earlier, what was it like animating the fight scenes in both Boondocks and Black Dynamite?
It's funny how, like, everybody in the show knows karate. It's like,
right, I don't know who it is. Everybody knows kung fu.
Everybody knows. They never address how all these people know kung fu.
Everyone knows kung fu, right?
It's just not like that.
Yeah. No, it was fun, man. I mean, I think that was one of the cool things about the show is, because, we grew up, watching anime, and, we it was like part of the show was comedy and social commentary and satire and all that stuff. And then there was this fun part where we could just do these really dope ass anime fights with like black characters, which you would just never ever see. So it was cool, man. Especially when we had, guys like Sung Kim and LaShawn Thomas, I mean, you know, Sun Kim is like, so you know him, like he's one of the best artists, directors, board artists. I mean, across the board, you name it. He's just phenomenal. So a lot of those fight sequences that you saw came from him. And I ain't gonna front. I found, you know, it's funny. I didn't even notice at the time, but like later on, like there was certain fight scenes. It was fight scenes that we did that I'm like, you know, like Sung boarded it, but I'm like, that it looks very familiar to me, but I don't know where it came from. And then I seen people post, people found, you know what I mean? People found like Naruto, you know. But at the time, I didn't even know it, you know, because you know, Sung is just showing boards, and I'm like, oh, this is dope. But I knew, I was like, why does this feel like it feels familiar? And you know, so there's people that tried, you know, they online, you'll see like some of those fight scenes, you'll see, you know, we was inspired. They don't have some other anime.
There you go.
Inspired.
There you go.
Yo, so that's a good leeway into this question. So to you, because it's two trains of thought on this, and me and G were talking about this before we got on the show. To you, is Boondocks, is it an anime?
You know, people used to ask me that all the time, and I used to take the stance that it is, you know, because I always approached it like, you know, I feel like we would never truly embrace as anime just because of the subject matter, and the characters were Black, and you know what I mean, and the culture of it all. I think that's why when I say the anime community, I mean like the hardcore anime heads never truly like really embrace it as anime, because you know the kind of stories that we're telling are also not very anime, right? But
it's more cultural,
culturally, right? But with that being said, I feel like in terms of how the stories are being told, you know what I'm saying, and how executed those stories, and the designs, and the art, and the animation, and all the visuals, I mean, I would put it up there next to some, you know what I'm saying, some of these, you know, top anime shows, and honestly, I'm at a place now where like I don't even care if you don't accept it as an anime. It's cool. Like we're not, you know, like why do we have to even try to fit in that box anyway? You know what I mean? Like what we always found ourselves, I'm saying, as Black creators, not just creators, but as people, we always find ourselves trying to, you know, we always have to use someone else's measurements for our success, or we try to fit into other people's box, or we want to be validated by so many other, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like we you know, we don't need it. We don't have, so it's okay. Like, all right, it's not anime. Cool. You know what I mean? It is its own thing. I'm cool with that. You know, and I just feel like that across the board when it comes to anything that we do. Like we don't got to fit into anybody's box, or we don't have to measure up to anybody's criteria. It's like we can, you know, we should just do us.
All right. I want to take a little left turn here just for a hot second. If there was a versus battle between Thugnificent and Gangsta Delicious, who you betting on?
Now, when you say Gangsta Delicious, do you mean Most Def?
Most Def.
And I would definitely say,
That's what we saying. Can you, Carl Jones, beat Most Def ass? That's what we say.
Oh no! Put all my money on Gangsta Delicious. Okay, son.
Okay.
I didn't even write that. I didn't even write that rhyme. Thugnificent. That was,
really?
Believe it or not, that was DJ Pooh.
Oh, word.
Yeah, okay. DJ Pooh. You know.
Okay.
Actually, he wrote my verse. He wrote Snoop's verse, and he wrote Busta Rhymes' verse.
Hey man, hey, go ahead, Pooh. Pooh, yo,
most Def ain't write nothing.
Nah, he did like a he did like a little freestyle. I don't know if what he was like, you know, drop the beat. He's like, oh, Gangsta Delicious, my rhymes are vicious, eating them seeds, delicious. Like that was just him, like just riffing. But like but nah, the other stuff, everything else I think was written. Yeah, we should do a Thugnificent album though, man. I always thought we thought
dope.
We missed so many opportunities, man, like to do some cool stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Because we would do these hooks, like booty butt cheeks. And it's like, and that shit, still to this day, I'll be on TikTok and I'm seeing videos pop up where people are doing stuff with it. And we never made a full song out of that. Like, how do we not make a song?
Right. Mm-hmm.
It is booty butt cheeks, by the way. It's not booty butt cheeks. But you know
what? It's not booty butt cheeks.
No, I thought so what happened was so our music producer was a guy named Tank, right? It was really dope, not the singer. But he basically did like the guide track, right? For the song, and he wrote it and he produced it. I thought he was saying booty butt cheeks. So when I recorded when I did my BO in the show, I was saying booty butt cheeks, but the song that that's playing underneath it is saying mood and butt cheeks. So later on, he heard it. He was like, bro, you know you're saying the wrong thing.
In the shade, right?
No, like it worked. Well, that's what every once in a while. I find later on in another episode when he was like, when Thug Nipsey was mad that his fans weren't supporting him, he was like, "Hey, Thug Nipsey, is it mood and butt cheeks or is it mood and butt cheeks? Who gives a fuck, nigga? It's a song about butt cheeks." Like, that's where that came from. Because people were like, people talking about it. That's so hilarious. Every once in a while, I will just break out and song about booty butt cheeks. I do it at least twice a year, just randomly for no reason. Booty butt, but no reason. Absolutely.
Yo, somebody said F Granddad was a hit.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah, man. Thank you. I mean, I said it's DJ Pooh and we had how did his name slip my mind, man? Rest in peace. John Willis? No, it's singing on that's singing the hook. How did that his name? I just drew a blank on his name. You just mad because your ass is old. Man, slip my mind. I'm sorry. Nate Dogg. My bad.
Nate. Oh, Nate. Okay. Oh man, perfect. Yeah, perfect, man.
Nate Dogg. He sang the hook, and I think Pooh wrote that too. Actually, I think he wrote the whole song.
I know. Fonte from Little Brother did some voices for the show too. Did you ever work with Fonte?
Yeah, man. Yeah, he did. I think it was at the end of the Cancer Freeman episode. If you go watch it during the end of the Cancer Freeman episode on Boondocks. Wait a minute. I want to say it was at the end of that song, but he did I Don't Trust Them New Nigga song, right? Yeah. Singing like a Negro spiritual. And he did all the voices, because you would hear like a chorus singing, but that's all Fonte.
Dope.
Yeah, dope. He's dope, man, and he's really, really funny. Like, he's really funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of get an inner sketch too, like he shows that creativity in albums. Yeah.
He's so super creative. He's got a great voice. He's got different voices, and he was fun to work with. Yeah, we worked together on Black Dynamite a little bit too.
Man,
there we go.
How did y'all get work done? Like, okay, I can imagine
we did.
That's it's like, is that why it was like so many gaps in between? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, first thing you have to realize, it takes like a year and a half, right, to produce a full season. But for us, it took 2 years, right? And so a lot of people will be like, "Yo, did the show get canceled?" And it's just this is how long it takes to make it. But nah, bro, it was hard, man, because it didn't have, at one point. I'll say at one point it didn't feel like work. At one point it was really friends hanging out. You know what I'm saying? And when I say that, I just mean like, we were having so much fun, and it got to the first season we had us in this. We were working out of this warehouse. Someone had us in this, like, it was like an industrial warehouse where they kept like all the Sony movie props. So it was like a Ghostbusters, the Ghostbusters car, and it was stuff from like the movies. was being kept at this like, this like warehouse or whatever. Then above the warehouse was this little bit of an office space, right? And this office area, there was no windows. There was like it was completely cut off from anything outside. And they used to pump some kind of toxic chemical into the ground in the parking lot. Because we'll be walking through the parking lot to go from one part of the building to the other, and we'll see these guys in hazmat suits, and they're like pumping chemicals into the ground. I don't know what it was. I had no idea what it was. But then I think there was like these giant towers that was just buzzing. That it was just right there in the middle of the park. So it was just like the worst work environment, right? But this was the first season. And they don't really give a shit about animators. They just put us anywhere, right? And no one really knew what the show would become. So after that first season, and the show, started popping a little bit. Aaron was like, I don't want to work there no more. And so we moved from there, and we actually got a house in Tarzana, right? And it was in a little cul-de-sac, but it was like a jacuzzi in the backyard. There was a stripper pole inside. It was like, video games. There was always random like actors. Some these damn porn stars. It was crazy. It was kind of a crazy atmosphere, but it was this place when we were hanging out, and like it was hard for us to really stay focused, I guess, on one thing at a time because of that, because it was like a house, and it was a place that we could hang out and do other shit. So it was a little challenging because we ended up staying we damn near lived there, right? So it was like, we might work from like 12 to 2, and then we'll work again from like 4 to 6, and then we'll work again from like 12 to 3. I know you got some stories. About some of them. You got some stories. Too many. Too many.
Yeah. I could tell by the smile. He's like, yeah, I can't really disclose what went down in that house right there in the cul-de-sac. I'm gonna have to use memories, man.
Notice I was like, I know you got some stories. He's like, yeah, too many. And I shut up. I was like, in case you want to tell a story. And look, he was just like,
too many.
I mean, like, dang. It was not real quick. Shout out. It was Zelda. She said, not done with the late night mesothelioma claim. So what's wrong with that story? Random toxic gas everywhere, bro. That's wild.
Right. Yeah, it's not. It was, but I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I'm not even going. Yeah. I'm afraid of. I'm saying this. Like, I was really focused on the work. No bullshit. Like, at the end of the day, it was to me, that show was so important, and I think it was like this for everybody. But dude, I was always afraid that we weren't going to meet our deadlines. You know what I'm saying? Or we would deliver this shit late. So it was always, we did whatever we had to do to keep the train on the track. You know what I'm saying? And so it was a big show to me. See, what people understand, like, say for example, like a show like Family Guy, you might have, I don't know, on average, you might have 150 to maybe 200 scenes, maybe, right? On the Boondocks, you might have 500 to 600 scenes. You might have 300 different characters in every episode. So it was a huge. I always say that we were making 22-minute movies. You know what I mean? If you think about the scale of the episodes in terms of like where the stories would go, they were going to some crazy places. Whereas traditional sitcoms are very contained, and it'd be like, like Family Guy mainly take place in the house, the bar, or right outside, and it'd be the same usual suspects you see in every episode. The Boondocks, we introducing new people almost every episode. We in prison one moment, you know what I'm saying? We in a nightmare of Tom's. We got steak meter in hell. We're doing, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it was just always, it was like movie-sized episodes. So it took a lot, and so that was always my priority, and always my main focus was making sure that gets made.
Here we go, man. Oh,
And the wall-to-wall titties in the spot. There we go. That's it. This is
so comfortable, man. I would keep on. I would do it to myself, man. Listen, man. Another let's turn here, man. I want to know who is on your Mount Rushmore of voice actors of all time.
Oh man, is it 4 or 5?
It's 4.
4, right? Oh man, that's a good one. I would have to say Gary Anthony Williams.
Oh, okay, good one. Yeah,
and this is tough, and it's going to sound biased, but I truly believe this. I'll say Gary Anthony Williams, Regina King.
Okay.
I got to give it up for John Witherspoon. But see, well, let me say this. When you say voiceover actor, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's people that do many different voices. They play many different characters, right? Like those guys are
legend.
Those are exceptional individuals, right?
Right.
And then you have those people that may not have that kind of range, but they do something very, very special, right? That's like John Witherspoon. No one can do John Witherspoon.
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying? Like some of these other voiceover actors that do many different voices, some of them are interchangeable. What made it like, you can get someone else and do a voice like that.
Yeah.
But Spoon brought something to, and this is why I usually, when it comes to voiceover actors, that's kind of how I judge them. Also, it's like what did you actually bring into the character that's unique as well? Not just how interesting is the voice or how much you capture the character on the page, but Spoon brought something really unique to the table. So I would have to, and I feel the same way with Gary Anthony Williams and Regina King. And then, of course, I would say C.J. Yarborough as well. Like, and I know it's not biased, but he played Tom.
Okay.
So, but working with them, right? The improv is impeccable, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, off the dome, they're the best that have ever done it, honestly. And they really they've all brought something really special to each one of those characters in the show that we couldn't have gotten from some of the most seasoned veterans out there. Oh, I must say Eric Bowser too. Eric,
who did he play?
Bowser?
Eric Bowser.
Bro, just Google him.
Eric, okay.
Google Eric Bowser. Right now he's doing a lot of stuff with Warner Brothers, but like he's done. It's just too many. He's just like,
okay.
He's incredible, right? But then you got guys like Kevin Michael Richardson too, who's phenomenal.
Yep. And don't forget,
Creed. She's a beast. Like
Yep. So man, Creed is dope. Phil Lamar is OG. Pete David, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Hell yeah. And look, Kim Whitley, Tommy Davidson, JB Smooth, one of the best. I've been watching.
JB Smooth. Oh, that guy.
Bros, I got to look at Jim B in the booth. The problem is he gives you too many takes to choose from.
I bet.
All of them are gold. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, but who else? I'm gonna name a couple other people because it's like Clifton Powell, amazing.
Clifton
really? Powell, okay. Pinky, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And Cat Williams too. Cat Williams is amazing, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Tara Strong.
Oh,
I don't know if you know Tara Strong.
Oh yeah, OG, like triple dipple OG in the game. She's dope, man. Oh
yeah.
Who else, man? My man, Kevin Michael
Richardson. That's our name. Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy. He played Martin Luther King in the Boondocks episode.
Oh snap! Okay, word. Also, man, to kind of picking it off of that, man. Who's your Mount Rushmore of actors of all time?
Actors?
Mm-hmm.
Of all time. Yeah, that's tough, man. You trying to. I'm gonna make some enemies. I had too many friends, man. So, I think Sam Jackson. Yeah, I put Sam Jackson up there. I'm a big fan, and no one's gonna agree with this. I'm a huge fan of Danny McBride.
Yo, oh, that's a funny dude, man. He a funny dude, man.
And look, and I know in terms of like actors, he's not maybe like, but that dude is like, I will watch him in anything. He's just amazing to me.
Same here.
Man, and I'm kind of repeating myself, but Regina King, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Regina King, she's amazing. Man, if I had to squeeze one, let me see.
I mean, you can put you in there as well, I'm gonna say, or your boy Affion,
Oh, Affion is dope too. There's so many, man. There's so many actors. I don't know. That's a tough one, man.
I respect that. All right.
You get a call from Denzel Washington in the morning. Like, look, I was around working with you, man. But I saw the Geek Stallion interview. I'm like, nah, I ain't going to so you got Danny. We're not going to go back.
You're right.
And Tracy Morgan is also really good actor, man.
Sure.
And I think Tracy has a lot more range than I think people realize, because he hasn't, most of the roles you see him do is like in that vein of being Tracy Morgan, right? But man, like he can go, like he's got several different bags that he can go to, man. Like he can, you know what I'm saying? Like he can pull off some really, really dramatic stuff, some really heartfelt moments. And he's a student of the craft. Like, when I worked with him on set on OG, there's plenty of times he would just be like, yo, Google 1967, such and such. And I go looking up, he's like, watch for me. And he would sit there and, and then school me, right? Like he would pull up a Sidney Poitier scene or something like, just some real obscure stuff. And he would tell me to watch this scene, this scene in particular, and he'll be like, I want you to pull the emotion from that. And that's what I want to see in what we're about to do in this next scene. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even the director, I'm the showrunner, but he was still like, any opportunity he got, he would help me to understand how to make a scene better, even from the writing to directing to just how to think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's very, very thoughtful in that way,
And